Hi, welcome to Ikate's Crossing. I'm Paula, by the way. Thanks for being with me as we sort of finalise this He's Just Not That Into You series. Okay, I haven't read the whole book to you guys. I've just done bits and pieces. Really suggest you, if you really want to get into this, this is something that you really want to sort of dive into, I really suggest that you actually buy the book yourself and actually read through all the chapters, do the exercises, and really dive into it. I've just been reading some little bits and pieces from it just to sort of give you an idea about this book. There's lots of other books available too in this type of thing. So let's get into it after we've just done let's just pull a card from Vesta's Art Oracle Passion. Okay, so this is just some things that we're thinking about here. Oh, there's a card that flew out. Let's have a look at what we've got. Okay, the first thing we've got here is the Alchemist. So things are transforming, things are being created a little differently here. Let's okay, so looking at this one here. The other one is about wisdom, knowledge, and communication. So things are transforming, things are changing, you're creating something new out of what was, and it's going to give you the wisdom and knowledge to be able to communicate clearly or express yourself clearly in the way that you need to. Okay, definitely feels like it's a lot about self-expression. The sort of the turquoisey colour, the blue there is really sort of standing out. It's very much about that sense of communication. Okay, so let's look into it. He's just not that into you if he's a selfish jerk, a bully, or a really big freak. If you really love someone, you want to do things that make them happy. He's got so much good in him. He really does. I just wish he wouldn't tell me to shut up all the time. Yeah, that's a problem. Try not to ignore it. I know he's got so many other great qualities. That's why you fell in love with him in the first place. I know you wouldn't really fall in love with an a-hole. But here's the trick. Forget about him and his good qualities. Even forget about his bad ones. Forget about all his excuses and what he promises. Ask yourself one question. Is he making you happy? People are complicated. They are a mixed bag of lovable and dysfunctional qualities. That's why they are so dang confusing. That's why you're trying to figure them out as a waste of time. Is he making you happy? I don't mean some of the time on rare occasions, not that often, but the good still outweighs the bad. Does he make it clear in his actions every day that your happiness is important to him? If the answer is no, cut him loose and go find a man with a higher good count. He's really trying to be better excuse. Dear Greg, my boyfriend is selfish. He says he loves me, and he does include me in his life. We are close to each other's families, and he's a very good man in many ways. But we've been living together for 4 years, and he never shares household responsibilities. Doesn't put any effort into going on nice dates with me. Doesn't make a big deal about my birthday. Never brings me flowers. Won't walk the dog. Really compliments me. Doesn't thank me when I make a nice dinner for him and his friends. Isn't that affectionate? And doesn't want to go on nice vacations with me. We talk about it all the time, and he swears that he's trying to change, but his changes are pretty imperceptible. The question is, can he really love me as much as he says he does, and be this much of a dick? Paula. Dear A. Dick did. You've got to be kidding me. Take your letter, hold it up, and read it to yourself and a friend. If you can't figure out the answer, call the cops because someone's had their brain stolen. P.S. The answer to your question is no. People who are in love with each other generally try to be nice. Some even get a kick out of treating their mate well and trying to make their life better. He may think he loves you, and maybe he does, but he's really bad at it, and it's exactly the same result as if he was just not that into you. Try not to be 4 years into a relationship when it suddenly dawns on you that the guy you're with is a big selfish jerk. Chances are Jerk Boy has been trying to show you who he is since day one. It's just the way he was brought up excuse. Dear Greg, my boyfriend of a year is perfect in every way. He just happened to grow up in a very dysfunctional family with only one other brother and a crazy mother. I'm far from a very big, close, loving family. I'm from a very big, close, loving family. He does not ever want to spend time with my family, and when given the choice, will always stay at home rather than go for a visit. When I do take him with me to family dinners, he's sullen and unfriendly. We talk about it, and he says he just isn't into family. It's hard to imagine sharing a future with someone like this, but all the same time, isn't how we get along alone more important? And I think eventually he would get used to my family and come around, don't you? They're really nice people, Enid. Dear all in the family. So your boyfriend is perfect in every way except he's not into your family? Wow, that's a pretty big exception. Sure, he's got kind of a good excuse to be selfish, because that's all this is about, really. A lot of people don't list on their top 10 favourite things to do spending time with other people's family, but aren't you hoping one day to include him in that family? In fact, back in the old days, I don't know exactly when that was, but you know what I mean. Your family would have had to approve of him before he even got to meet you. So don't sell out your family for this dude. If he was really into you and truly planning on sticking around, he would be doing a little tap dance for your awesome family every time he saw them, and perhaps baking them a little cake as well. He doesn't have to love your CD collection. He doesn't have to love your shoes. But any good, mature guy better make an attempt to love your family and friends. Friends and family, especially when they're great. It's not always going to be like this excuse. Dear Greg, I'm dating a guy in medical school. He's overworked, overtired, and gets angry easily. He yells at me when I wake him up by mistake. And he recently screamed at me because he felt I was bothering him when he was in the middle of studying for some big exam. The thing is, I know this is just temporary because he's in medical school. He wasn't like this in the beginning when we just started dating, and he hasn't started school yet. He's really sweet and thoughtful, and every once in a while he'll feel bad and apologize and tell me how much pressure he's under. I know the real guy is going to come back, dear Greg. Besides, I always wanted to marry a doctor. Dear old Yeller. I don't care if he's studying to become the next Messiah. There is no reason to yell at anyone ever unless you're screaming, "Look out for that bus!" and it's not temporary. People who yell are people with anger issues who need help. People who yell are people who think they're entitled to yell. Hey, hot stuff, do you want to be that couple, That couple where the guy yells at his wife all the time? Even better, do you want him to be that dad? I didn't think so. Don't wait around for Mr. Hyde to turn back into Dr. Jekyll. Go meet a man who really knows what it means to take care of people. It's behind closed doors that counts, excuse. Dear Greg, I love my boyfriend. We live together and he's really good to me. He takes me on expensive vacation and buys me really lovely, thoughtful presents. I feel very secure with him. My friends are kind of not into him because he happens to make fun of me a little when we're out together. He makes fun of the fact that I didn't go to an Ivy League college, and likes to point out when I say something grammatically incorrect or when I get a piece of information wrong. He loves to disagree with me in front of other people and make a big deal about me not knowing as much as I should about current affairs. I don't care. I assume it just comes from insecurity. It's not like that when we're alone, I swear. So why should I care? Isn't it how he treats me when we're alone that counts, Nina? Dear glutton for punishment. He sounds perfect if you like bad people. Why would you want to be with someone who belittles you so that he can feel superior, and especially in front of your friends? Which Ivy League school has a program in public belittlement? Because that's what this guy majored in. If he thinks that insulting you in front of your friends is going to make him seem like anything other than an idiot, and why should you care if he treats you better when you're alone? Because it sounds like he can't wait to get you out in public just so he can humiliate you. Dump Mr. Smarty Pants and go get a degree in a manner I can be around my friends with. But he's just trying to help excuse. Dear Greg, I have a boyfriend who really understands what I'm going through. I've always had a weight problem and I've always been battling it on my whole life. He's a huge gym rat and is very food conscious. He tells me what I can and can't eat. If I want to cheat, he tells me that it will go straight to my fat ass. He lets me know if I'm putting on weight, but he also tells me when I look good and I'm making progress. I think it's great that he's so understanding of my issue. My friends think he's mean to me. I don't agree. What do you think, Greg? Nadia. Dear Weight Watchers, this guy doesn't sound like your personal trainer. He sounds like your personal bully. And to remind you, his job title was actually just personal boyfriend. But he's a clever personal bully. He knows that you feel bad about yourself and leaps to take advantage of that. Bullies prey on people weaker than them, even one that lifts weights every day. It's time you use your quads and hamstrings to run away from him and never come back. I'm going to comment on the last three together. There's lots of behaviour that can be considered abusive that doesn't include being beaten around the head and neck. That includes getting yelled at, being publicly humiliated, or being made to feel fat and unattractive. It's hard to feel worthy of love when someone is going out of their way to make you feel worthless. Being told to get out of these relationships may not work for you. Knowing that you're better than these relationships is a place to start. You're better than these relationships. But now I'm playing in the big league excuse. Dear Greg, I've been on 3 dates with a guy who's a really great catch. He's a journalist who has an incredibly exciting life. He travels, goes on adventures, and has incredibly interesting observations about it all. He's also really funny. He compliments me and seems to like me and keeps asking me out. He always says he's had a great time with me, but in fact, in the 3 dates we've been together, he actually hasn't asked me one question about myself. He is obviously really into me, otherwise why would he keep asking me out and telling me how nice I look? Maybe this is what it's dating exciting guys. He's a great catch, Greg. Rhonda. Dear captive audience, you are so lucky to be with such an exciting guy. You get to watch him perform conversational masturbation on you. Hot. He's clearly as impressed with himself as you are. I hate to tell you this, but he's not into you. He's into how you look listening to him. When I met my wife, all I wanted to do was ask her questions. How else was I going to know what she was all about? Yes, I liked telling her my story too. I wanted to impress her with feats of glory, but it was an even exchange because I thought she was the catch. When two people are connecting, they hunger for information about each other. A sliver of what life is like when you're not together, a glimpse into their past, a peek into their mind, all in hopes of getting under their skin. This guy sounds like a megalomaniac. At the very least, he should be asking you what kind of underwear you're wearing. Remember, you are the catch. They are out to snare you. They're not the tasty little mako that will be so good, mesquite grilled in a nice lemon sauce. You are, well, you know what I mean. He's just finding himself excuse. Dear Greg, my boyfriend hasn't had a job in 2 years. He's really sweet and wonderful, but just doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He DJs every once in a while, but basically I support him. I work and have a little family money. I know he's really into me. He just needs to figure out what he wants, right? Or maybe he's just depressed. Dear bringing home the bacon. So I don't understand. Do you leave him money on the counter in the morning, or do you pay him to for doing chores around the house? Listen, Moneybags, he may be really into you, but he doesn't seem that into himself, or he wouldn't have let you support him for 2 years. Therefore, by living off of you, he is behaving in a way that perfectly resembles someone who is just not that into you. A man that's really into you and himself will try to get his act together as fast as he can. That means first and foremost collecting a salary. And just be aware, often these guys, once they do get their lives in order, feel so good about it that they now think they need to go out and find a new relationship. After all, no girl of real quality would have put up with that kind of crap he had dished out for so long. So I say let him go find himself, not just on your dime, then see if Mr. DJ spins back into your life again. People go through rough patches all the time, but as the saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough don't ask to borrow $500 so they can pay their bar tab down at Paddy's. The only job you need to worry about is the job of finding yourself someone who would never be that comfortable living off of you and your family's money. The maybe he's just his little quirk excuse. Dear Greg, I met a guy who's really sensitive and sweet. The problem is he doesn't like to be physically affectionate. He tells me that he just doesn't enjoy being touched. We've had sex and it's nice, but he's just not that into caressing me either. Everything else about him is great, so it seems like such a strange complaint. Do you think not wanting to cuddle and be touched is a sign that he's just not that into me? Or could it mean he has intimacy issues? I don't want to dump him over this, but I like physical affection. Frida. Dear starved for affection. Have to say, little suspicious of someone who doesn't like one of the greatest pleasures on earth. What else does he not like that you don't know about yet? Puppies, babies, having a soul? And if you like being affectionate for all the obvious reasons, then why would you want to doom yourself to a no-touching zone with Mr. Uncomfortable? Yes, some men have a hard time being physically affectionate, but actually not enjoying it. It's difficult to fathom. He may be really into you, but he's certainly not really compatible with you. I say move on, meet someone who feels the thing you like, and have a long life filled with playful grab ass. You'll meet people who don't like to be touched or kissed or don't like sex. You can spend a lot of time trying to fix them or wondering if you should take it personally. Or you can realize that they simply don't like to do the things you find absolutely essential to enjoyment of your life, and then go find yourself someone who does. The rare and exotic, he's afraid of intimacy of sleep. Excuse. Dear Greg, I've been dating a guy for a year who can't sleep in the same bed with me. After we have sex, which is always nice and great, he has to go sleep on the couch. He tells me he just can't deal. Everything else is fine with our relationship. I just figure he has some intimacy issues that I have to be patient with. Does this have to be a sign that he's just not that into me, or can I just see this through? Gloria. Dear freak lover, here's what I'd like to do. Put money down on the fact that everything is in fact not fine with you and Freak Boy's relationship. He hasn't slept in the same bed with you for a year. This is a freak who needs to be kicked off your freak-loving couch and shown the bottom of your freak-loving boot. The fact that you even care what this freak thinks of you is just proof that the world has indeed gone mad. Call it curtains on the freak show, please. If you date, you will meet your share of weirdos and jerks. That is sure as death and taxes. The only thing in your control is how long you allow these gentlemen to take up space in your life. In case you're not sure, it would be about 10 minutes from when they first display their completely unacceptable behavior or lizard-like tail. 10 minutes still gives you time to put on all your clothes and make sure you've deleted your number from his cell phone. It's so simple. There's a difference between eccentric and insane. Eccentric will sometimes wear a velvet jacket. Insane will only have sex with you when wearing it. There's a difference between teasing and abuse. Teasing is Bjork called, she wants to dress back. Abuse is, boy, are you getting fat, but the biggest difference is you. You all are ultimately better than the treatment you're receiving from these men. Here's why this one is hard by Liz. I've been implying this, here's why this one is hard responses, but now I'm going to come right out with it. There aren't that many good men around. Statistics prove it, articles and books have been written to verify it, and women would be happy to testify under oath about it. And here's another one. There are more good women out there than good men. I bet you have heard or said that one before. Oh wait, there's this one as well. A lot of men want to date much younger women, so as you get older, there are even fewer men that want to date you. So let's have Greg come over to our house with our little pocket calculator and tell us how, given the pure math of it, we're all going to end up with great men who love us and whom we love back. Where there's a passionate mutual attraction, who also treats us like queens. Exactly. It can't happen. So yes, it seems logical, reasonable, and downright savvy for all the fantastic, smart, healthy, funny, kind women out there to start thinking about lowering their expectation. Because I don't know about you, but I hate being single. I hate going to parties alone. I hate sleeping alone. I hate waking up alone. I hate knowing that every single boring errand I have to do, I'm going to be doing alone. I hate not having sex. I hate cooking for one and shopping for one. I hate going to weddings. I hate people asking me why I'm still single. I hate people not asking me why I'm still single. I hate my birthday because I'm still single. I hate having to think about possibly becoming a single mother because I'm single. Have I made myself clear? Obviously, I don't think people should go out with someone who is abusive to them, but there are subtle degrees of abuse. There are many shades of Mr. Wrong, and these guys that we're talking about, they're not just a-holes. They can be nice sometimes too. And there are many days when I personally think it's better to be with someone who your friends might hate, but will help you carry in the groceries than be alone. So I said it. This one is very hard for me. It's so hard for me that I think Greg has to take over. It's too difficult. I'm deeply pragmatic. So given the sheer statistics, I don't have a clue on what to say. I know we have to love ourselves and think we deserve happiness and be optimistic. I also think it sucks to be single, Greg. Are you really telling us that we should just stay single and picky and not settle, and thus not settle down until we have met the person we think is the one? It's really lonely out there. You take this one. I don't have a clue. Greg responds, we are now at the crux of the whole matter, aren't we? It's not so funny when we really get to the painful, lonely centre of it all. I get that it is much more profound problem than he's just not that into you. I have sat up many nights with so many friends and my sisters in tears, trying to get them to believe that they are better than the men who are messing up their lives. So I'll try to answer this the best I can. Being lonely, being alone for many people sucks. I get it, I get it, I get it. But still, I have to say that, yes, my true belief is that being with somebody who makes you feel shitty or doesn't honour the person you are is worse. The statistics are bleak, but don't use statistics to keep you down or keep you frightened. You can't do anything with these statistics except scare yourself and your girlfriend. So I say F statistics. frick is statistics of your life. How dare you not have faith in it? The only story that has ever helped me, Greg Behrendt, live my life successfully is a story of faith. I believe that life will turn out well. More fervently, I believe that you have no other choice than to believe that I'm writing this book and women will be reading it, because we are all tired of operating from a place of fear. You want to believe that you are better than all the crap you've been taking from all these men all these years? Well, you are. You're an excellent, foxy human being worthy of love. And the only way you can pursue that idea is by honoring yourself. At the very least, this means ridding your world of dudes who are not worthy and setting a standard of excellence in your daily life. Let's start with this statistic. You are delicious. Be brave, my sweet. I know you can get lonely. I know you can crave companionship and sex and love so badly that it physically hurts. But I truly believe that the only way you can find out that there's something better out there is to first believe there's something better out there. I'll believe it for you until you're ready. This is what it should look like by Greg. My friend Amy is deathly afraid of clowns. So her husband Russell makes sure she never sees one or is near one. Now, this might not seem like such a difficult task or one that requires great personal sacrifice until you've actually tried to avoid all the clowns in the world. Oh, it's not as easy as you'd think. You'd be amazed at how many clowns are out there. But Russell does, because after 10 years of marriage, he still wants to protect his wife from things that frighten her. Greg, I Get It by Georgia, age 33. I went out with this guy who really was not nice to my friends. He would barely smile or make eye contact with them when he met them. And if he got into conversation with them, he wouldn't ask them any questions about themselves. Sometimes when they would be talking to him, he would turn away from them mid-sentence. He wouldn't say he didn't like them, but that's just the way he was. Okay, so I'll admit it, I didn't break up with him over it. He ended up dumping me, but now looking back, I'm glad I'm not with someone like that. I want to be with someone who is charming and loves my friends. I want to someday go out with someone who my friends meet and call me the next day and say, oh my God, he's great. If you don't believe Greg. A guy friend of mine refuses to break up with a woman he's engaged to because he's scared. Yes, we're classy species. When I beg the guy to pull the plug, he always says the same thing. Greg, I'm waiting for the big fight. I'm just waiting for the big fight. In the meantime, he picks on because with Needles, his fiancée, just so he can have the big fight and get it over with. It's not pretty, but I hope it scares you just a bit. 100% of the guys polled said that they've never tried to torture and humiliate a girl they were really into. Well, that's a start. What you should have learned in the chapter. Life is hard enough as it is without choosing someone difficult to share it with. You deserve to be with someone who is nice to you all the time. You have to be nice to them too. There's never a reason to shout at someone unless they're in imminent danger. Freaks should remain at the circus, not in your apartment. You already have one a-hole, you don't need another. Make a space in your life for your glorious things you deserve. Have faith. What other choice is there? Okay, so that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care, and blessed be.